It's time to pick a side. The Border War is on the air with BG and TanMan. Welcome in, true believers. Welcome to the Border War for July the 3rd. We want to thank everybody for listening and downloading last week's show. And just remind you that you can find us on Twitter under the Border War. I am BG. I'm on Twitter at BG_Border War, and I'm here with the TanMan, who is at TanMan3264. We're on Facebook and YouTube also.
Spreaker.
We are on Spreaker. Which is the best way to listen to the show. So, a big week has begun in the NBA. Obviously, it started, I guess, was it Saturday or Sunday that LeBron made the move?
Saturday, or I guess Sunday at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
It's not news at this point, but obviously just in case you didn't know, LeBron James did not hesitate in his move to go to the Lakers. And that was the biggest story on Twitter. It was all over Facebook for about 15 minutes, and then Boogie Cousins heads from the Pelicans to the Golden State Death Squad, and that quickly eclipsed the LeBron James news. Then, the Rajon Rondo signs a one-year contract in Los Angeles, and that literally didn't even make the radar anymore. I mean, like you had to go digging to find that out.
All right, we'll start in L.A. We'll start with LeBron and
sure.
The Lakers. They signed. Obviously, they signed the King. I was actually just getting ready to tweet out Sunday evening. Come on, man! Either go or get off the pot. I mean, what are we waiting on?
Oh, right.
And about 10 minutes later, the tweet comes out from his agency. He signs the 4-year max deal, and all of a sudden, Lakerland finally rejoices because now with one signing, they feel relevant in the NBA again.
I saw lots and lots of Laker fans, and I'm using that term loosely, warning others on social media, don't join our bandwagon now. If you're a LeBron fan, meaning, you pull for whoever LeBron plays for, don't. And I thought to myself, I mean, a lot of these people I was seeing obviously live in North and South Carolina, and I thought, how did you become Laker fans? Yeah. I'm just curious.
The thing that got me about that whole deal is we've heard for 2 years now, they've cleared out space. They've got space for 2 max guys. And a week ago, they're going to work out a deal and bring Kawhi, and Paul George is coming, and LeBron's coming, and it's going to be awesome. They follow up LeBron's signing with JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, and Rajon Rondo. What?
Yeah.
I mean, how you tell me, how is that what LeBron envisioned? Because I'm picturing, free agency he signed, basically 2 days after it started, essentially. I'm picturing a scenario where LeBron is kind of waiting things out, waiting to see if someone else comes, and finally he goes ahead and signs, and turns out, I never thought he would be the only one to go, but it turns out it doesn't really sound like the door was even open for anybody else.
And the thing is, I mean, am I wrong to think this feels like he knew he was going to do this
absolutely
in November? That's how it feels. That famous little clip of him covering his hands when he talks to Lonzo after their game. I mean, now it really does feel like, okay, that's what they're saying. I mean, and so knowing that, It's hard for me to make it make sense, too, because this is not 28-year-old LeBron James.
Right.
And a 4-year contract, and yes, not, LeBron looked like...
Which, if you're a Cavs fan, is that not just a punch in the gut?
Oh, yeah.
Once he left to go to Miami, when he came back, he never gave the Cavaliers that kind of commitment, because if he had, he'd be there in Cleveland right now with Paul George and Kevin Love. But he never gave even his own hometown team that kind of respect, that kind of commitment, and all of a sudden Magic waltzes in at 12:01, talks for him for 3 hours, and boom, it's a done deal. That's a punch in the gut, man.
Well, I guess if you're a Cleveland fan, what you can say is you got a title. You got a title you probably shouldn't have won. That doesn't matter. I mean, the history books are not going to say Draymond Green lost that title for Golden State, but that's what happened. But you got a title. You clearly weren't going, I think, to win another one in LeBron's remaining career.
No,
I don't think that if I'm a Cleveland fan right now, what I'm telling myself is, yeah, I don't like this, but he did what he said he came here to do. He did it. And we didn't have a future with him anyway. I mean, if you're being honest, it reminds me a lot of what we've talked about as a Hornets fan with Kemba. I mean, keeping him isn't really going to help. And keeping LeBron James wouldn't have really helped. When Kyrie Irving walked out on that team, that's what changed everything as far as Cleveland's future. LeBron obviously wasn't enough by himself.
How close is LeBron today to becoming what Kobe Bryant was at the end of his career, where free agents just flat would not go play with Kobe Bryant? Because, I mean, if you look, other than joining up with Wade and Bosh, which he and Wade were already like peanut butter and jelly, he's never gotten anybody to really come to him.
I think the only...
Yeah, he went to Kyrie. They went and got Kevin Love for him. No one's ever came to him.
Right.
And he sits in L.A. today. He's a Laker today, and he still doesn't have a big time running mate with him.
But and not to jump the gun at all here, but I mean, just Cousins says he reached out to Golden State, that no one showed any interest to him. But who does he call first? He doesn't call the Lakers. He doesn't. I mean, he doesn't even. He calls Golden State, and I mean, you could say, well, that makes sense because look, this Laker team as it exists right now, doesn't have anything like what it takes to win a finals. Not anything.
I heard someone today say that they felt like best case scenario with the roster as it is right now,
they're about the fifth best team in the West.
Fifth in the West.
That's what I was going to say.
In the West,
and that's a good team.
That's a good team, but at fourth and fifth in the West to me just seems. They just let Julius Randle walk out the door for nothing. He goes down to New Orleans, slides in Boogie's spot. Boogie goes to Golden State, and it's just like a little circle. And then they had JaVale McGee. I mean,
what is it? Okay, so let's just.
I mean, in the West, I mean, you're talking obviously Golden State, Houston. You're talking New Orleans, Oklahoma City. Just re-up with Paul George. They may be in the Tyreek as of a few minutes ago. They were still in the Tyreek Evans hunt. Steven Adams. I mean, I don't think the Lakers are better than any of those. Are they better than Utah?
I'm not.
I don't know.
I think they could beat. Obviously, I'm not suggesting but even a team like the Nuggets.
think about it. The Lakers were one of the worst shooting teams in the league last year, and they go out and add Rondo, Lance Stevenson. Neither one of them can shoot. Now you bring they got Kentavious Caldwell Pope. Okay. But you got one guy who can shoot. I mean, I think fourth seems way high. I mean, way high.
But even if we give them fourth, okay, let's just say they're the fourth best team. Mm-hmm. Heck, let's just be really, really generous and say they're the third best team. Who cares?
Right?
Like, what does it actually mean? I mean,
it means a lot if you're a Lakers fan.
Does it? Isn't the standard in LA?
They've literally been the worst team in the league over the last 5 years.
But isn't the standard, if you're a Lakers fan, we want rings?
You got to get in the playoffs first.
I agree with you, but let's be honest.
You can't literally be the worst team in the league for 5 years and then all of a sudden add one guy and go, all right, we're back in the hunt.
But that's my point. they shouldn't act happy that they only added one guy. That should be a big disappointment to them, I would think.
Do they pay the price? Should they go pay the price for Kawhi? Because right now the Spurs are asking.
I've heard 4 first-round draft picks.
I've heard a young player, a starter, and 3 first-round picks.
And you mean to tell you the real problem?
Should they go pay the price?
We know who runs the show there, right? The man that runs the show in San Antonio is 70 years old.
I just saw the Warriors were 10-11 favorites to win the NBA title.
That means if you bet $10,000, you will win $10,100. I think that's what that means. But Popovich isn't in a position to honestly care. Like, he may not live another 10 years on this earth. Look, his career is semi-over. He's got a few years left. He's probably feeling more responsible for rebuilding this team at this point. If he has to sit and keep Kawhi, and it's just uncomfortable, do you really think Greg Popovich cares? That hurts Kawhi Leonard a lot more than it hurts Greg
earlier
Popovich.
that Kawhi
so he's
was
asking a high price,
considering sitting the year out. But as far as the asking price, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
No, they have all the cards.
They're in control,
and they can't really. If you let him go for less than that, then you're still not a good basketball team. I mean, yeah.
Listen,
I think, and you want picks, right?
Listen, the Lakers are. They're trying to pretend like they're negotiating from a position of strength right now.
Yeah.
They're not.
They're not.
They've got a 34, 33, 34-year-old LeBron James. Yeah. Listen, he was awesome last year. No one is debating that. But if you think that you're going to get that guy for another 4 years, is that guy still playing at 37 at that level? That's a lot to ask. That is a lot to ask. So if I'm the Lakers, yes, I go out and I do whatever it takes to get Kawhi Leonard, because you get Kawhi Leonard on this, now it all changes. Now it all changes. And if you don't and you play the same game that they played last year with Paul George, let him get to Boston, let him get to Philadelphia. Those teams are going to be in the hunt for an NBA title, for an NBA Finals appearance. They're running the risk of him doing the same thing Paul George just did to him and going, you know what? Man, it's not so bad here.
I want to get into the Paul George situation here in a second, but before we do, let me ask you this. I've got 2 questions for you. One, what is LeBron thinking? I mean, I really want to know what his motivation is, and then 2, it's like a press conference. Then I'll let you hang. I'll hang up and listen. Second question is, do you think LeBron is already? In other words, is Rajon Rondo coming there? Is that LeBron? And if it is, what does that mean for Lonzo Ball? Like, what was that about? Like, both of those things interest me. Go.
What was the first part?
What's he thinking?
I think that he just,
from a basketball standpoint, what is he thinking?
I think that this was more of a post-basketball move than anything else. You hear about he's got all these different business ventures, and all of them seem to be based out of Los Angeles. I think LA was a place in his mind that at some point he always thought, if the right opportunity and the right time arises, I'd like to come out here. And
because we do project onto LeBron a lot, right? I mean, we think he's obsessed with winning rings. He went to Miami. He went back to Cleveland.
I think it was a part of him that was what it was all about, just stacking rings. But now,
I think he knows that can't happen.
Now he knows. I mean, we said it a couple weeks ago, where I think there's a real chance that LeBron James, it's more likely than not. If you're going to tell me LeBron's going to win 2 more rings,
it just got more likely.
If you're going to tell me that he's going to get 2 more rings or no rings, I'm going rings.
Yeah. The over/under is definitely
heavily.
One. The over/under is definitely one ring.
If he got 1, it would be, I don't want to say a miracle, but I would be surprised. Because this thing in Golden State, this is not going away, man. I think I think Cousins is just going to slide into Draymond Green's spot when it comes time to pay Draymond Green. They're going to let Draymond walk, and then you're just going to have basically the same team you had last year, except swapping out Cousins for Draymond Green.
All right. Well, before we get into the Golden State thing, because it is slightly more interesting, let's go ahead and talk about Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't get what he's thinking either. I mean, if, and I'm doing the same thing that I just said. I'm using the same litmus test for every player, and I'm assuming that what they want is to win rings. The man told you guys, meaning Indianapolis, I'm going to L.A. There's nothing you can do. And now it looks like that conversation never even happened. Like not this season. Like before he re-signed to stay in Oklahoma State, that the Lakers really didn't make a push for him.
He didn't get a chance. He didn't even give the Lakers a meeting.
But TanMan, you know this. We can have conversations in March. We can have conversations the year before. I mean, like, there's all kinds of time to have those conversations. I'm from everything I've read from Adrian Wojnarowski and other people is that whatever these two entities thought 2 years ago, it just went away. But here's my question. I mean, they could be better. They were very streaky at times. At times, Oklahoma City looked like maybe the second best team in the West, but at times they looked like they didn't even belong in the playoffs. I mean, and so to get swept in the first round like that, to me, it shows me that PG-13 is already sort of thinking about other things other than basketball. I mean, because they're not going to win a ring in Oklahoma City. I just don't see it. Not in the next few years.
Okay.
I don't know.
We've named 15 teams over the course of doing this show where we go, can they win a ring? And everything is, well, can they beat the Warriors?
Right.
And if the answer is no, then you're like, oh, this is, then what's the point? What are we even doing here? He goes, you think about it, he gets to stay in Oklahoma City. He's comfortable there.
And the talent there is younger than it would have been in L.A.
He's comfortable there.
Westbrook is not going to fall off nearly as quickly as LeBron is.
No. But here's the thing. I think that he knew LeBron James was going to L.A.
Right.
L.A.'s his hometown. That's his town. That's his house. Those are his stomping grounds. For a guy who's already maligned and already thought of as being kind of a tear down, and every time you get into a big game,
he didn't want to be Kyrie too.
He's never hit a game-winning shot. I don't think he wanted to go to his place in his town and be LeBron's running mate and be his second fiddle. Oklahoma City is a great organization. They've got a great fan base.
Yeah.
You've got a ready-made, built-in running mate in Westbrook who's not going anywhere.
And you're the biggest thing in town.
And you're the biggest show in town. And, this deal that he signed after 2 years, whatever this thing was, it can turn into like a 7-year, $280-something million deal. So it could be massive down the road. And look, I heard a lot of talk over the last few days about the value of being sort of this, 50-win team every year and just kind of being really good for a really long time.
Right.
And maybe at some point you hit a draft pick or you sign a free agent and you slip in the back door of an NBA Finals like the Dallas Mavericks did a couple times. That's okay. Everybody doesn't have to be the Warriors. And I think the Thunder are, I think if they can resolve the Carmelo Anthony issue, and that's a big if because he's owed a lot of bucks and that buyout ain't going to be cheap. But if they can resolve the Carmelo Anthony issue, I think the Thunder have a chance to be 2-3 seed in the West next year.
And some of it, too, I think, is free agency is sort of like our regular lives, right? The guy doesn't like his job. Well, it's like my dad always told me, don't ever quit a job till you've got a job. Okay, so you look around, if you're Paul George, and you see the Lakers are the primary spot you're looking at, and he just didn't like the situation there.
I think that's what it was. I think this was just a much more comfortable, spot for him. Like I said, he doesn't have to be the main guy. He doesn't have to be the alpha dog here. Westbrook is going to shoulder most of that load.
Right. And that could be that it suits him to not be the alpha dog.
I think it does.
I mean, it could have worn on him. Not all the guys have that personality.
Well, no.
Westbrook definitely has that personality.
I told you sitting here a year ago when they made that deal, this is sneaky. He could go out to Oklahoma City and team up with Westbrook and really like it, and that's what happened.
Okay, well, speaking of not having to shoulder the whole load, Boogie Cousins is probably not going to have to be the guy in Golden State. They have one or two other players who can score the basketball.
They've got guys.
Yeah. All right, so the story here, there's a couple of parts to this story. One, and I'm sort of setting up a point here, is this idea that no one was interested in DeMarcus Cousins. That's according to him. We don't know that, but I don't know why he would lie about that, because if it isn't true, then that only takes one insider from, I don't know, wherever saying, no, we contacted him.
Well, they said he had meetings with the Lakers. I think what happened is he didn't get the big-time offer. At 12:01, he didn't have anybody sitting in his living room trying to pitch him on the idea. They said the Pelicans just flat didn't want him, which I don't understand.
Because they gave up everything to get him.
They said they just told him no. But I think if around the league, when teams got up and saw that deal, they're going, $5 million? Yeah, we'd have done that.
Right. But they didn't.
I don't think that he didn't give everybody that option.
He wasn't going anywhere except for Golden State for $5 million.
No.
And here's the thing. It's a 1-year deal. Okay? And let's remember what we're getting here. And I'm sort of setting this up to talk about why the outcry. This idea that, now the NBA's broken. Okay? This kid isn't going to play basketball till March if he's lucky. Right? I mean, he's hurt.
I've heard February, and maybe
and the injury he has, if you look at guys who have had it, it affects them. I mean, he's not going to come back the way he was.
I mean, it has ended careers.
It has.
I mean, it's not
the thing is, I don't like Golden State. Okay, they get on my nerves. I don't like the way Steph Curry chews his mouthpiece and how everybody talks about him like he's this great guy, and Klay Thompson seems a little arrogant and annoying to me, and I don't really like that KD went out there. But all that being said, I mean, they were great before KD got there, right? And before KD got there, every player they had who contributed in a major way got there how?
Most of them through the draft.
They were all drafted.
Most of them.
Okay? And, but I'm saying the core guys that really mattered. There were role players, that any team had equivalents to.
Yeah.
I'm saying the guys that don't have a match. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, those guys. Draymond Green. Draymond Green got passed up and passed up and passed up in that draft, okay? And so the Warriors have earned this. And it's like I always say in college baseball college football, when people say, well, and you can say it in basketball with the ACC, well, you guys get all the calls. You get favoritism in the polls. Well, how did we get it? We earned it.
Right.
Okay? And so Golden State, yes, they're in a position to go out and get a guy like him for $5 million because he's going. Mark it down. He's going to get a ring. I mean, he's taking a pay cut for a ring, and you may be right, maybe you're not. I personally think it would be a mistake to let Draymond Green go. I think he might be the most important player on that team, and I'm dead serious. But here's the thing. The other thing people are forgetting about Golden State is they were not. I know they won and they swept the Cavaliers, but you've talked about it, man. They were one injury away from losing that series.
I think if Chris Paul's hamstring doesn't pop off, I think there's a good chance
if you think that those guys are going to sit and stay on cruise control, no, I think they went and got this. It's a little bit of a dice roll. I mean, Boogie Cousins is a locker room issue. That's been established. But my point is, this is a team that's still grasping, trying to get better because they don't think they can just win it like everybody else does.
You can mark it down. Whatever you thought about Boogie Cousins, whatever issues that you hear about him having, there will be zero.
Well, no, this is Randy Moss to the Patriots. That's what this is.
He's gonna sit on the sidelines for 6 months, and he's just gonna sit there and pick Steve Kerr's brain.
Yeah,
this is the best situation he's ever been in. This is an organization that knows exactly what they're doing. The first time that he's ever been in a spot like this, this is a perfect fit, a perfect match, no issues. I love it for Cousins. I don't think, like I said, they pushed the narrative. I didn't have any offers. No, every team in the league would have taken him for $5 million. I don't think that he had a lot of 3-year deal offers out there for max money, because of the locker room issues and the injury issues.
And again, my thing about this, the NBA is broken thing. Okay, Golden State got here, again, because of the draft. Kevin Durant doesn't go to Golden State if they haven't drafted like that. Okay, they won 73 games before he got there. They won 73 games based on knowing how to evaluate talent, develop talent, and go get that talent.
You know who the main ones that are hollering about how the league is broken right now?
The guys who would have been fine if the Lakers had done the same thing.
Yep. That's what I told a few of them on a text message this morning. I said, I woke up to like 5 messages going, oh, this is unfair. Oh, it shouldn't be like this. And I'm like, y'all are the same ones that a week ago were trying to scheme up ways to get Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and LeBron James on the same team.
Look,
all the while knowing that the guy you just signed screwed the Cavs. You think that them clearing the books for the Lakers when they brought in Clarkson and Nance, you think LeBron didn't know what that was about?
The only thing that's broken about it is just happenstance. And there have been dominant teams before.
The Lakers always had dominant teams.
Look at the Celtics when Larry Bird was in his prime. They had 4 Hall of Fame guys on the court at the same time, and Danny Ainge is a borderline Hall of Fame player.
Even in the modern NBA, we've always had dominant teams.
So my point being, the only thing that's unfortunate about this is that the Golden State Warriors don't have an equal awesome power waiting for them in the East. That's the only thing, because you feel like now the Western Finals that's it. That's it. I mean, people say Boston. I don't see Boston beating this team. Not in 7.
Could the East put together an all-star team that could beat that team?
It'd be tough. Well, I don't know that the East could put together an all-star team.
All right, here you go. In the West, we know about Golden State, we know about LeBron, Chris Paul, Harden, Anthony Davis, Kawhi, and the list goes on and on. You can look over at the East, you're talking Kyrie, Gordon Hayward.
Like, can you put an all-star team together to get
DeRozan,
a starting 5 on the court?
Blake Griffin a top 6 player in the East?
He's a great name, but it's over.
Is he a top 6 player in the East right now?
Probably.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, the imbalance is
bad.
I don't want to say broken, but
it's not good. It's not
great,
but it happens. It has happened. It'll swing back at some point.
It'll swing back. The Hornets are talking about adding Tony Parker and Tyree, or possibly Tyreek Evans. Are you on board with Tony Parker coming to Charlotte?
Why not? I mean, it'd probably be a 1-year deal.
Well, I don't think they're giving him 5 years.
Nothing's going to happen in Charlotte this year if it helps you win some more games. Tony Parker is the kind of guy that could probably help some of these young kids come along in their career.
That's why I love it.
I think having him in the locker room is a great idea.
I think that's why I love the idea of bringing it. He's not going to play.
No, not much.
He's not going to play, but just him being able to sit on the bench next to...
Well, and look at who's bringing him in. They know that.
Right, they know that. But having him sit on the bench next to those young guys, I love the idea of Parker coming. I love it. The other thing, do all the moves out west, if you're Charlotte, does that change... does that change your thought process?
You're a better basketball team than Cleveland now. That happened. If nothing else, you moved up a spot. I mean, I don't know how long you can count on the East being the way it is right now. No, I don't think it changes your strategy. I think you do what works, and that's you grow it slow through the draft. I still think that's the way to go in Charlotte.
So you'd still tear it down?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know what you're saying.
I think now that I'm sitting there watching this migration to the West just get worse and worse. Like, okay, there's two teams in the East, right?
You would have to do so much though to even be in the conversation with the Celtics. But the 76ers, I don't know how you can get there.
That brings me back to my point about the Thunder, though. There's two teams in the East right now, the Celtics and the 76ers. And then you've got a whole bunch of also-rans.
Yeah.
The core of this team in Charlotte won 48 games a couple years ago.
Yes.
So I mean, they're not full of scrubs.
Right.
The core of this team won 48 games. Now that door has kind of opened up.
Now you wish you hadn't gotten rid of Dwight Howard.
Yeah. Now that I think Howard had to go. It sounds like.
Okay.
But now that door has kind of opened up and somebody else is finally going to come out of the East, I think
why not us?
Why not us? I think I stayed the course, man. I think I stayed the course, and I pitched to Kemba Walker. Okay, here it is. We want to keep you. We want you to stay, and maybe you can get up to third or fourth in the East and make a run at the thing. I think it would be foolish to tear it down now.
I disagree.
All right.
I think your goal is to win a ring. I have to keep coming back to that. I mean, I don't see Charlotte turning into the consistent 50-win team. I could be wrong. I think your best
bet
with
before.
Charlotte, they have, is to catch lightning in a bottle. But for right now, I think playing the long game, that's why they hired the coach. That's why they brought in Mitch Kupchak. That's been their plan. I do see what you're saying. It's an interesting conversation. I was wrong one time back in 1984. I could be wrong right now.
You've been wrong more often than that.
So says you.
Yeah. I said lots of things.
You say too many things.
Earth is flat.